Stone Nerve fans. This is Space Coat, and welcome to the Blunt Sessions. Well, in the beginning, our original drummer, Glenn Red Dixon, posted an ad on Craigslist, and being from a city, I was having a lot of trouble connecting with other musicians. I answered it, we started jamming. So we tried out a few bass players, and what really started is when I came up with the name Space Coat. And then it just clicked in what we were gonna do. It was gonna be wild, crazy, hairy motorcycle rock, fuzzy Freak Brothers shit. And the first song, Yeska, just came right after I said that name in practice, and that's how Space Coat was born. Yes, it is. So, Space Coat comes from Cheech and Chong's next movie, when Chong returns from space with a vial of Space Coat and gives it to Cheech, and then they blast into outer space. But one of my primary guitar influences is Chong in this movie the entire time. You see him with his eyes rolled back into his head, wearing his space leather horned outfit, playing a crazy ass guitar, driving the neighbors crazy, blowing people away, smoke coming out of the amp. And as they say, if the amp don't smoke, it ain't Space Coat. And that's where the name comes. If you go on YouTube and search for Cheech and Chong Space Coat, you'll see a 1-minute clip of the origin of our name.
Chicks went to a massage park, and we went on a spaceship. We're in a weed field, man. We got sucked up by the spaceship, man. And they give us some space coke, man. Look at this is space coke. You never tasted this before, man. Hey, try this, man. Try it to blow your head off.
Aztecan vibe of that imagery, actually, it comes from my Hispanic background, and so in our imagery there's a lot of Hispanic and Hindu imagery because my grandfathers are respectively from India and Venezuela, but in particular Jasmine Meyer, Harley and Jay did that design that you're talking about after I sent them a clip from Cheech and Chong's next movie. And if you watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's, you know, it's a warrior princess tale. And in a lot of our imagery, I try to redirect from the classic metal, male chauvinistic, male-centered armor, women as damsels in distress imagery, which even though that's a bit of that story, those are kind of stronger characters in Aztecan mythology. But in general, like say, for instance, the cover art for Lapel de Vide tries to focus on the feminine as the hero of the story, just because there's too much of that shit in metal music, metal imagery, metal colors, horror movies. So I try to do what I can to shift the momentum a little bit. As far as our influences, there's obviously Black Sabbath and all sludgy, stoner, heavy rock. But for me particularly, I have Butthole Surfers, Paul Leary, Helios Creed of Chrome, and then the Band of Gypsies live at Fillmore East, Jimi Hendrix, the God and Master. But really, in general, I like to think of it as kind of a Motorhead meets Butthole Surfers. There's a little punk, a little bit of metal, there's a whole lot of bodacious love, and then there's the Butthole Surfers. And pretty much that sums it up for me. But also, like, you know, I listen to a lot of dub reggae. I listen to jazz. I like weirder things. I'm particularly interested in Sun Ra in all of his every decade. You know, he performed, I don't know, the 40s until his death, and every decade was a just amazing, different era of his music. But really, it kind of does come back to the Butthole Surfers for me. Thank you. Well, as far as songwriting, I generally wake up in a cold sweat about 2 a.m. in the morning with a flash of an idea, almost like a lightning bolt striking my brain. I reach to the side to my nightstand table, generally knock over my drink, grab my guitar, and I drag it to my heart. And then I walk down 3 flights of stairs to my basement. I plug it in my amp, I turn it up to as loud as it'll fucking go. And then I execute that idea. So I practice that for a few days, and then I'll get the drummer in on it. And generally, we throw the drums on it, and then the bassist comes in after we record it. Fucking me up, man. And then I record the vocals. And that is how Space Coke Song is born. Or we're playing at a show, and I say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we play a song that we never played before, and that's how another song can get written. Thank you. Well, we're about 80% done with a new album that'll probably be released right at the beginning of 21, and it'll be put out on Forbidden Place Records, which is a great label. You should go to forbiddenplacerecords.com and check them out. There's a bunch of great stoner bands and noise bands on that label. But our new album is going to be called Lunacy, and we have amazing artwork by Andrew McGranahan for the cover, and I think it's going to be probably the sludgiest, most occult album we put out yet. Well, as far as our artwork goes, I generally have friends that are artists that I respect help me out with coming up with the design, like South Acapulco Gold, our buddy Tommy Bishop did this insanely great LSD cartoon picture of me for that. You can see that. The other EP we did, I used a 70s picture for our bassist. Lapel de Vide is a whole story where I used sort of this medieval night kind of storyline, but I twisted it around so that if you actually look at the frames in it, the witch is the hero of the story, and the warrior is defeated. And you know, that, to put it very simply, is a smash the patriarchy kind of vibe. And if you look at each frame of it, I borrowed some Hindu astrology from my grandfather, so each frame has a number and a name that are related to Hindu astrology. But that's for you to find out on your own. You can look into it and look it up, because I like, you know, I don't want to be too obvious. I want there to be a little mystery to the story, what it means to me, and allow you to devise your own understanding of what Space Coke is. Because Space Coke, it is a cult, it's out there, it's supposed to be from outer space. We want to go back to outer space because look what's going on around here. Might be the only place we're safe, and once we're there, we can probably defeat Elon Musk. Coping, I mean, I can't even answer that question. Not coping, you know, we can't play shows because of the pandemic. We've lost a connection with the fans. We have an absolute psycho running our country. So I'm just trying to stay positive, just keep focused on the sound. But honestly, I feel like I'm having like a psychotic reaction. As far as my gear, I have so much of it, so many pedals, mostly. You know, I have a couple of guitars. Really, it comes down to a few key pieces, and I'll show you a few of those right here. First of all, I have the White Witch. This is a 2010 limited edition Gibson SG. I have Seymour Duncan whole lot of humbuckers in there, which I'm in love with. They're special made with only 2 wires, and it's what Seymour apparently was like his first hot rod humbucker that he made for Jimmy Page, I think, but just amazing pickups. When it comes down to my pedals, there's really three things that I can't live without. If you wanted to do the Space Coke sound, there's three pedals that you have to have. Number one is the Black Art Toneworks Ritual. Black Art's Toneworks, Mark is an amazing dude, and these pedals, I was on a search when I first started Space Coke for pedals that, when I want as heavy as a fuzz I want, a lot of them just squash out, you can't hear the notes. But when I got his Ritual, I could actually play guitar and hear what I was doing, but still have that heavy, completely saturated fuzz. This is actually the V2, which when it's on, you light it up and it's red plexi and it lights up and there's a crucifixion on there. But that's an amazing pedal. The V2 is even sludgier than the first one. I have this, although this is the third pedal that you need for the Space Coke sound, this is the Homebrew Electronic Silo Side. This is a defunct company, but this is the most amazing phaser you can get anywhere. You can find them sometimes used for $150, but they're worth probably $2-3 million. The third pedal is the Caroline Guitar Company Kilobyte, which is a delay. It's a lo-fi delay, and that and the Ritual are the two like absolute Space Coke, like heart and soul elements. But then lately, I've become a Seeker Effects addict. Mike Timpson, who's also an amazing dude, makes these effects. This is an Iommi tuned Range Master. It's a range booster. I got an Octavia here, and this one is a 1/9 color sound, which, as you know, 1/9 fuzzes are where it's at. But really, the wind beneath my wings is this, the Orange Rockerbird Mark III. This is the greatest amp ever made. And if you get one, you will never need anything else. And it literally is the engine, the jet engine to my spaceship to outer space. I could not even go there to get more Space Coke without this motherfucker beneath my wings. But you know, I use a lot of things. Like Wilson Effects is another favorite. I have a Wilson Effects Freaker Wah, which is a recreation of the Tycho Brahe Freaker Wah. Then that's what Black Sabbath used. If you listen to the intro to NIB, the bass is going through a Freaker Wah, those nasally, weird filtered. It's not a wah, it's like a dual filter. That's a must have. I use so many pedals, like I can't even, like I'm a pedal addict. Like any fucking stoner rock guy, like psychedelic music, I have like 4 delays, you know, 8,000 fuzzes, and you know, obviously my magic wig. And that's all you need to be Space Coke, besides be me. Thank you. Well, as far as my plans for the future, I already told you about our upcoming album with Forbidden Records. It's going to be our first vinyl. You know you're going to need that. But basically, my plans for the future is to get some looks, read these books, and hang out with some bartenders and cooks, and hopefully the new concerts, when it comes back and we can play concerts, will be louder and crazier than ever. And I can't wait for that because my fingers are buzzing. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Blunt Sessions, baby.
Thank you to Stone Nerve for allowing Space Coke to be a part of the Blunt Sessions. Shout out to the whole Stone Nerve fans, family and associates. Space Coke want to give a shout out to number 1, Jay Matheson at the Jam Room, also Fisheye Mastering, Philip Cope at the Jam Room. Yeah, shout out to my loved ones, Angelo, Jacob, and Megan. My favorite companies, you know, of course, Orange Amps, Caroline Guitar Company, Seeker Effects, Wilson Effects, and I hope you guys will be listening out for our album coming out on, of course, Forbidden Place Records. Check out their stuff, tons of cool stuff on there. We'll be back with you soon. Keep it psychedelic and keep it crazy.